the sacred cow of home equity. Welcome back to the Industry Leader Update. During their working years, retirees dutifully saved and invested tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars for retirement, all in the hopes of taking those funds out during their non-working years. And rarely do you ever hear any objection from family and friends when mom and dad eventually begin taking money from those retirement accounts. After all, it's their money and it's theirs to do with as they wish. But what about the hard-earned equity that millions of Americans have saved over decades? Oh, but wait, not so fast, say family, friends, and financial pundits. You shouldn't do that. Now, you can call this a sacred cow or an ingrained fallacy of personal finance, one that needs to be put out to pasture. Let's be blunt. Saving for retirement is prudent, but it's not without its risks. Typical retirement accounts such as IRAs or 401ks allow for tax-deferred growth during the accumulation phase as systematic contributions are drawn from one's paycheck or their cash accounts. However, all of those interest earnings or market gains made during that period are going to be taxed when they're withdrawn. And that arrangement is akin to a farmer that pays taxes on his harvest instead of the seed. The investor does enjoy a reduction in their taxable income, all in the exchange of the promise of a greater tax burden to be paid in the future. But seriously, there is also a risk of market losses for those invested in any portfolio that has stocks or equities. But when it comes to taxation, home equity stands alone from qualified retirement accounts. Accumulated home equity is rarely taxed because loan proceeds are not treated as income. Of course, there is the exception of one exceeding their acquisition indebtedness, which, by the way, is a topic that would warrant its own segment altogether. Nevertheless, retirees looking to increase cash flow could avoid unnecessary taxes by utilizing a reverse mortgage. And here's how. A homeowner can reduce their tax liability by only taking the required minimum distributions from an IRA or 401k instead of increasing their withdrawals to cover cash flow. A reverse mortgage would allow them to do just that and not have the burden of required monthly mortgage payments. However, there is key considerations that every homeowner should weigh before they ever tap into their home's value or home equity. Questions such as, will I need access to part of my home's value in the future to pay my long-term care expenses, and if I don't have other funds available? Or do I plan on moving in the next 5 to 10 years? Can I afford to keep my home if my spouse passes away and my income's reduced? But here's another question that's typically overlooked, and it's this. If I choose not to secure part of my home's value today, will I have access to it tomorrow? Will I qualify for a home equity loan or any reverse mortgage? And what if my home's value drops considerably? Now, one thing typical retirement accounts and home equity do share in common is the potential for loss. Many IRAs and 401ks have already seen significant loss in value thanks to a volatile stock market. And likewise, home equity is beginning to recede from historic pandemic highs. In fact, many housing economists now expect to see home prices drop by 10 to 20% in the coming year. However, unlike investment portfolios where you can reallocate shares out of risky asset classes, home equity is stuck in the bricks and mortar of that house and it's fully exposed to the real estate market's boom and bust cycles. That home equity is being held captive to market fluctuations until it's secured, usually in one of two ways, and that is to sell the home or to take out a home equity loan. Reverse mortgage borrowers who are fortunate enough to secure a portion of their home's value at today's prices, they have in essence beat a bearish housing market without having the burden of servicing mortgage payments. But even better, unlike a HELOC, a federally insured reverse mortgage's available line of credit, it can never be reduced merely because the home's value has declined. Now, the sacred cow of home equity, it has robbed many older homeowners of the opportunity to improve their cash flow, their tax liability, and most importantly, their quality of life. It's high time for some cow tipping. It's time to tip over the sacred cow of home ownership that treats America's largest asset class as sacrosanct. never to be touched or considered in the equation of retirement. Refusing to disrupt this sacred cow is not only irrational, but it harms the very people that many claim to protect. Now, in closing, I want to remind any of our viewers who are homeowners that I am not a financial advisor. I'm a reverse mortgage commentator, trainer, and also a passionate supporter of the proper use of a reverse mortgage. So always seek the advice of a trusted professional when considering a reverse mortgage. Now, that said, leave your comments and your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you'd be so kind as to share this week's video on your LinkedIn and Facebook profiles, we'll give you a big thank you for that. And you can also subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the notification bell. That way you never miss an upcoming episode. And catching up on your reverse mortgage news is just as easy as putting in a couple of earbuds and hitting play. Thanks to our weekly podcast, Heck'em World Weekly, Apple users can subscribe and listen on iTunes. That's a wrap for us this week, and we want to thank you again for joining us, and we wish you all the luck that you win in one of the most challenging markets that we've seen in the housing and real estate, but we also want to see you win in life.